And bring in some new folks. Joining us, criminal defense attorney Caroline Polisi, CNN senior legal analyst Ellie Honig, and CNN political reporter Elena Treen. And Elena, I want to start with you because I think when you look at what's happening on Capitol Hill, when you look at the kind of balancing act that the House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, has, and you're very familiar with it, the fact they may go down this path, and our great colleague Melanie Zanona has been reporting, it seems kind of inevitable at this point. Politically, what does that mean for a very slim majority for House Republicans?
Well, it's tough. I think that right now, McCarthy knows that he doesn't have the votes, the 218 votes needed to formally launch this. And Melanie pointed out in her story, and it's great reporting, that they may not need that. They may not need to vote on it in order to move forward with an impeachment inquiry. And I very much believe they will. I think that this is something that I've been covering these House investigations very closely for months now. It's what the chairmen have been building toward. And I think everyone, particularly those in the more far right section of the party and in the House, have been expecting. And I think McCarthy knows that he needs to move forward with this. And it's interesting, though, just speaking about Leader Jeffries' interview with you. I was catching up with him, Ellie and I, in the green room before he went on, and he was saying that, even though there's a lot of moderate Republicans who say that they do not want this to move forward, that they do not think impeachment is warranted, or go against what McCarthy and some of the more far-right members say, they almost always end up voting with them and with the lead and with Speaker McCarthy. And so I think that was interesting to hear him say, and it's something that he's going to be watching for, because really the moderates in this very slim majority are going to have a huge role in this if they end up moving forward with an impeachment inquiry.
And they are the majority makers. They are
Exactly.
the frontliners. A lot of them are in Hakeem Jeffries State, as we were talking about. So that's the Capitol Hill aspect. To some degree, that's the protection aspect, what President Trump has been asking, former President Trump has been asking House Republicans to do. The actual cases themselves, Caroline, it was striking the timing of things, trying to figure out when the federal case is actually going to start. We have a date now. You saw the arguments from the former president's legal team about time, just the scale of what they have to get their arms around. Does the date make sense?
I'm a criminal defense attorney, so I do tend to align myself more with that side of things. That being said, 2026 was a bit of a reach. That's what they were arguing for. As a defense attorney, you can't just really take the government's word for it. There are 12 million documents here to look through. The government noted, there are duplicative documents in that dump, that he's, has many of them in his possession already. However, you can't just go on that. You are going to want to look through those documents to make sure there's nothing in there that's a surprise. There are sophisticated ways to sift through those documents, sure. Word search ability. That being said, March 4th, it's coming up. A lot of federal trials would give more time on that. So I do think it's going to be an issue. Likely, it's not going to be a winner on appeal, but it's definitely going to be, up for the debate.
Yeah, I agree. Judges have very wide discretion when it comes to setting trial dates. And I agree this will be an issue Donald Trump will appeal eventually. But it's cutting it really close here. To make Donald Trump on a case with 12 million pages of documents go to trial in 7 months. And some of the rationales that DOJ offered up that the judge agreed with, I think don't cut it. For example, one of the things DOJ argued and the judge agreed with is, well, he's sort of known that this was a possibility for a year or so, going back to the January 6th trials. That's not the way it works in our system. You are not on notice as a criminal defendant until an indictment drops. That's the purpose of an indictment. You can't just say, well, you kind of should have known there was something floating out there in the ether. That doesn't cut it. I also agree with Caroline. One of the big rationales has been, well, we, the prosecutors, we gave you this handy guide to most important documents. That's nice. That's a sweet courtesy. But guess what? It's up to the defense lawyer to decide what matters to the defense. So I think they're cutting it pretty close to the line here with respect to Donald Trump's constitutional right to fully prepare.
It's such an interesting point. There's so many different dynamics here. The Congress, the political, the legal. I'm glad you guys are here to keep it all in line for me. Appreciate it. Caroline, Elena, Ellie, thank you guys. Well, Hurricane Idalia is now a Category 1 storm with a maximum sustained winds around 80 miles per hour, but it's expected to strengthen even more and could